Hey guys, the Sony RX10 Mark IV just got announced today. Looks like it's going to be a fantastic all-in-one option. But you know what? I can't help but be a little disappointed. I just can't. So stick around. I want to tell you exactly why that is. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about what I'm thinking about this in the comments down below. The RX10 Mark IV has got 24 frames per second with 315 on-sensor phase detect autofocus points covering 65% of the frame. That's what's seeming to be a first, with a backside illuminated stacked CMOS sensor. This is the same kind of technology that they put in the A9. You get 4K 30p, you get a 24 to 600 f2.4 to 4 zoom and aperture range, so it's a really fast lens that they've put on there, made by Zeiss, 20 megapixels and $1,700 USD. And Sony shared some really interesting data today. They seem to have kind of found out that the majority of RX10 series camera owners already own other interchangeable lens cameras, and a substantial portion of those are full frame users. So a substantial portion of people who buy this 1-inch sensor Sony RX10 series camera are full frame, but there's still more that own other types of interchangeable. That's really interesting to me. That's like a huge data-driven rationale for continuing to make these cameras, because people that are buying your cameras are buying more of your cameras that don't fit perfectly within what you'd expect them to buy. They really emphasize the B camera attitude that people have towards this camera. But what that all made me think is, where are they getting this data from? Or is it from registration information? Is it from like rewards cards, tracking of purchases? Is it from online shopping? Surely they can't have all of the data. Just from some very brief perusal of the comment sections around the release of this camera, it seems like there's some people that only shoot RX10s, and there's a lot of people that are really interested in the RX10s that I've seen comment before about cameras that they own, which are other interchangeable lens cameras and full frame cameras. So clearly they know their market. And so they've really tailored the RX10 towards that market, the RX10 Mark IV. So the really big thing here is the usage case, right? Like the usage case scenario for the average user of the RX10 series cameras, and more particularly the RX10 Mark III, is someone who wants to have a B camera that has full functionality, huge zoom range in their kit bag, so that they can have something to take out and turn on and shoot that is not at the same weight and size as carrying around the equivalents would be. This is all very logical, right? This is a very logical upgrade path from the RX100 series. It's a very logical B camera for people with other interchangeable lens cameras, because it has everything, and it does everything really well. Everything about this camera and Sony's attitude towards putting features in cameras is very intelligently intentioned. This is definitely going to be a great camera. There are hot shoe options for microphones, for flash units. It's got a tilting touchscreen, it's expandable, and it's ergonomic. But I can't bring myself to care, and I feel decidedly foolish for that, but it's the truth. Also, hashtag smash the like button for the self-awareness. Bing! I'm biased against cameras that have sensors that are smaller than APS-C because I'm a dinosaur of a photo geek, right? But the GH5 and what Panasonic and Olympus are doing with the Micro Four Thirds format is really starting to kind of change my perspective on a lot of that. And I definitely could see myself down the line picking up an RX100 series camera if I were to get into vlogging more seriously. But if I'm gonna spend $1,700 on camera gear, it's not gonna be on a glorified point and shoot. But it's worth saying that the Sony RX10 Mark IV, probably the single best all-in-one option on the market. This is blowing everything else out of the water. What it comes down to, though, is that I'm really disappointed that the press conference today that Sony held was not for the A7 III. I won't lie, as much as I try to espouse and forward the idea that you should get the best camera, lens, whatever, for your needs that exists in the market right now, I can't help but waiting for the a7 III. I really think that could be the camera that gets me fully switched over to Sony, sell all my Canon gear. So that occupies a big space in my own mind. And I know that, and I apologize for my disappointment in the RX10 Mark IV not being the a7 III. So we've gotten that out of the way. Let's get back to the RX10 Mark IV. At some point in here, I'm going to stop referring to it by its full name. Like I said a minute ago, I don't think there's a better all-in-one option on the market. It's got optical stabilization, it's got clear zoom, it's got IAF, it's got fully silent shooting, it's got 1/32,000th of a second anti-distortion shutter that they pulled from the A9. It's got the same battery as Sony Alpha 7 series cameras and Sony Alpha 6000 series cameras, so you'll be able to swap your, you'll be able to use all the same batteries for all of your Sony devices except for the A9. You can shoot for over 10 seconds in JPEG at 24 frames a second. You have a 72mm filter thread for really easy access to high quality filters, like fader NDs and so forth like that. You got a weather sealed body, so if you're a Nat Geo photographer, videographer, or whatever, and you're in the middle of the jungle somewhere or the desert, you can have this in your bag and expect it to reliably perform in the field. Or if you're, shooting indoor sports for your kids, junior high or high school team, if it gets a knock or two, it's going to be fine. This is a very durable all-in-one camera. You got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so if you are in any of those usage cases, you can just quickly share the images that you've been capturing and post them to social. And in a lot of ways, I think the video is where this device really shines, right? You got 4K 30, you got 1080p 120, you got 1080p up to 960, you get S-Log 2 and 3, you get internal 8-bit 420, external through a clean HDMI output 422. You have pre-record options like you'd see on a Red camera. You have a mic jack and a headphone jack if you want to use this as your, run and gun option for filmmaking, for documentary, whatever. This would be a great documentary camera, actually. This camera is just an absolute beast and powerhouse, right? You can do everything, absolutely everything with this camera. Despite my biases, I can totally understand who would buy an RX10 series camera and why. But I'm really interested in why you're interested in it. So if you'd leave a comment down below telling me why you're interested in the RX10 series cameras, and this one in particular, I'd be very interested to know. In a lot of ways, it would be rampantly foolish of me to not recommend this camera, so I'm going to. I recommend this camera, even though I don't think that I'm gonna go out and buy one. I think that this camera offers so much value for money, and that's a big thing for me, right? Like every decision I make when I'm looking at camera gear, I agonize over value for money, value for money, value for money. And this one offers so much, just so much. If you want to be able to do literally everything with one camera, if you need a backup, if you need a B camera, this is the one to go with. The only concession is sensor size, but with nearly every possible shooting scenario accounted for, be it photo or video, from low light to fast action to an incredible zoom range to durability that you can rely on. This has got to be, the Sony RX10 Mark IV has got to be the best camera, the best all-in-one camera on the market today. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.